breath of fresh air because this is the first time, I think, when this was conceptualized as an event that has not just policymakers, not just business, but academia's inputs very actively, and not just from India, as we saw from Professor Vivek Wadhwa, right from the farthest corner of the world, from here to the west. Start off, I really consider myself to be very lucky. Last evening, with an eminent filmmaker and a Padma Award winner. This morning, with a Padma Vibhushan Award winner. And big round of applause for Viswanathan Anand. Because we sometimes don't realize when our homegrown champions are here and so humble and easily accessible that we are talking to someone who's a 5-time world champion. People will struggle to be a 1-time national champion, and for some of us, a local community champion. But from there to become a 5-time world champion, Vishy, it's an absolute honor to share the same dais with you. Thank you for coming and gracing the occasion.
Thank you, Jog. It's a pleasure.
Vishy, you had a narrative about your first memory of Nagpur. From there to the conversation that Siddharth had about the journey of 5 trillion, I think somewhere along that journey also has had an impact when you've landed last day before yesterday. And I'll tell you guys why this is what meticulous planning and this is what intensity is about with Vishy and what he did to be able to attend this event. But Vishy, your first impressions of when you first came here many, many years back to Nagpur to now.
So I came in 1985 to compete in the National Junior Championship. And so my mother came along with me, and I was here for 10 days. And subsequently, I've come to Nagpur very often, both for stays and transiting. So, but still, it's a pleasure to be in the IIM campus here. That's new for me. And to be here at this great event. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishy. I just wanted people to recognize that with Tech Mahindra doing the Global Chess League, I have had the pleasure of meeting one of my idols, Vishy, a few times. And I don't know whether you guys noticed that I can't compete with Siddharth on an anchor, but I've tried my best to make sure that I dress up, both of us dress up to reflect chess. So I'm sure you're noticing the white and the black. So there are many things that Vishy is involved in. One of the things he runs is part of a committee that is enabling the vision for India's dream to be an Olympic nation. And I'm going to kick it off in the tune of the fact that at the end of the day, this theme of this event is about beyond 5 trillion. And this is today hosting Olympics in India, as the Prime Minister has talked about in 2036, is definitely beyond our dreams. And it's an ambition, it's a dream that we would all as nation be very proud of. You've been part of this initiative called Olympic Gold Quest for years. Will you tell us a little bit about what you think India needs to do to be an Olympic nation?
Okay, so Olympic Gold Quest was started in the year 2001, basically right after the Sydney Olympics. And Geet Sethi and Prakash Padukone started OGQ because they were kind of frustrated with the idea that they went to the Olympics, just the attitude of all the Indians there, you know, the apathy, the sports people didn't really seem to think they had come there on a mission. The whole vibe was very negative, and both of them said, well, we all sit around and talk about how lousy things are. Why don't we try and do something about it? So that's kind of the motivation, which is a good thing. A lot of things which seem impossible right now, if we start working, it might happen. So I joined many years later. They invited me to join the board. And the idea was basically to Olympic gold quest, to win gold medals in the Olympics. At that point, it seemed out of reach. Then Abhinav Bindra won one, and slowly our hopes are rising. But there's been a sea change in attitude in India over the last 23 years with regards to sport. So government allocations are going up constantly, first of all. But more than the money, it's a sign of their commitment. Second, the government has come around to the idea of working with everyone in the ecosystem. So if there's a sports foundation thing, the government tries to maintain the best infrastructure, and almost every person you need to reach out to in government, in the ministry, sports ministry for instance, is available on WhatsApp. So you message them, sir, this athlete is going for this competition now, can we use the SAA facility, he wants to train a little bit, and it's immediately a word goes through, it gets arranged. Very, very proactive. So they're more supportive. But the underlying driver is, of course, the public's attitude. As a country, we have decided we don't want to just make a mockery of our participation. We want to win something. And now the athletes know that it's no longer good enough to say, I participate in the Olympics. They know that at least you've got to make it exciting. Maybe finish fourth, but it has to be exciting. But they dream of gold. They don't just think any medal. So all these things has changed. The corporate world now supports a lot, so lots of initiative. We have a lot of funders from the corporate world who kind of see the mission and long term. And Olympic Gold Quest itself is one of many players, but what it's doing very well, I think, is, see, when we were supporting 3 or 4 athletes, the aim was, let's give the athletes the best. Let's give them what they need. Full back end. They should not be doing all this mundane stuff. They should be focusing on their sport. But as we are nudging towards 300, and then you can include Paralympics as well, then we realize we need our own bench of physios. We need our own bench of coaches. We need our own bench of dietitians, fitness trainers, doctors, lawyers even, people who understand the Olympic legal codes, things like that. And as a result, we now are building up this expertise within the country. So what started to win gold medals in 1 or 2 competitions is now becoming a thing back end where every sector we are building up expertise. And that's necessary because you cannot fly abroad for everything. We need to have the base here. Still, the aim is if somebody in Utah is the best in this, we will fly them there. But a couple of years down the line, we got to see, can we have someone similar? Can we have someone closer? And so that's what the movement has been about. I think we consistently get maybe 20% to a third of the medals that India wins. I mean, athletes supported by OGQ, and that's a really great movement here.
It's an amazing movement, and the very fact that it's run by all champions like you, like Prakash Padukone, like Viren Raskina, and so forth, shows the commitment and actually the ability for the people who understand sports from a practitioner's perspective to come together and deliver it. One of the big connects that I've always found, and that's one of the reasons we are associated closely with chess, is the importance of chess in everything, in every aspect of our lives. If you got to succeed in business, you got to plan your moves 5, 10, 15. I'll come to the, the crunch line here very soon. If you have to be in sports, there's chess in every sport, every physical sport. If you've got to make your cricket game work or your football, there's chess in it. So while you talked about training the athletes on building our bench, how important is this mental part of planning and moving and bringing chess-like thinking in this, and what are we doing about it? And before Vishy starts, let me tell you, I don't know if any one of you can guess, what's the number associated with Vishy when he makes one move? How many moves does he think, do you think he thinks ahead? Anyone? 8? Okay. He's disappointed. 8, though he thinks I should be able to think. I'm probably the worst chess player in the world. 64 is the number of moves that he thinks ahead of someone who makes one move. That's the level of analytics that goes behind it. So back to the answer for you, Vishy. How do you train these guys to be mentally ready to be able to be an Olympic champion?
It's very hard to train for these things because you train in an atmosphere where everything is very controlled. So it's you and your art, and that's fine. So whatever it is you're doing, you practice it over and over, you get better. But it's impossible to recreate all the other elements. You go in front of an audience. Everyone's looking at you. Tweaks you a little bit. Maybe the previous day you had a press conference. People ask you, are you going to win? Are you going to win? Are you going to win? Kind of messes with you. You go there, the light's pointing at you and so on. And the worst thing, there's a competitor sitting there and interfering with everything you're doing. And this competitor's job is just to make sure you don't win. He wants to win. That's again, so there's a very different thing between the training and practice that you do and being able to perform like that under variable, unpredictable circumstances. Nothing is in your control, especially in Olympic sports. The schedule can get knocked out. Events can start 5 minutes late. All these kinds of things can happen. And during all that, you've got to keep your mind focused. Remember the attitude you walked into the stadium with. I came here to do this, and I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this very well. And all this distraction, you should be able to keep moving it aside. So maybe a little bit of chess will help them as well. The way we try to convey this is simply by experience. Each athlete who has been there once can talk about their experience, how they dealt with the pressure, what are the things that bothered them. Invariably, if you ask an athlete, what bothered you in the morning, it'll be that the light switch didn't work, or I couldn't find my toothbrush. It'll be minor, irrelevant stuff, but it'll frustrate you the whole day. It's that kind of thing. And I think sharing these experiences, again, it's a community thing. If each person who has competed in a big competition comes back and shares it with others, then everyone benefits from this experience. But again, you'll only truly understand it when you have been there once.
Agree. One of the final parts of actually building this nation to be ready for Olympics is probably the training programs, the harnessing of the younger talent at school and harness it when they're very young, but also about the physical infrastructure. Do you have a view on what probably we need to do to scale up to be someone who will host an Olympics or is dreaming to host an Olympics in 2036?
Yes, our infrastructure will have to get better, but again, if I'll repeat the analogy, it's very easy to imagine what kind of demand you're placing on the infrastructure, and then the Olympics happens, and then you realize that it's almost impossible to anticipate all the problems that can occur. So it's important to see the Olympics as an end goal. We must host a lot of small events consistently so that we're used to these needs. And you'll have to imagine something like 10 to 12,000 athletes. I don't even know with support staff what the number goes up to. So can we get all the hotel rooms? Smooth transport. The athletes get to the venue on time. The spectators are able to transition smoothly from venue to venue. All these things, everything has to work very well in the background. Viren had a very intriguing idea. His idea is why host the Olympics in one city? Why not host it in India? In effect, we already have this, that the wrestlers come from Haryana, the chess players come from Tamil Nadu, the footballers come from Kerala and Bengal, and we already have that kind of expertise built in. So why not spread the Olympics across the country? That spreads hotel rooms, organization very nice and makes it a truly national Olympics. So I really like that idea because it's very difficult for one city to absorb everything. We see it consistently in other cities. Whereas here, if we don't build a lot of single-use facilities, in a sense, build it only for the Olympics, then we continue to benefit from it for a long time. But there are two things to this, and we can talk at the top end, where we're talking of the best athletes producing, in effect, what are the best performances in the world. But part of us, any sporting movement has to have the other end as well, where people are competing just for joy. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful than watching two people go to play badminton or tennis in the morning. You can see they're just lousy at it, but they come back happy, and that's a sport also. We shouldn't get too obsessed with the upper end. The key is everybody should get a chance to play. That's what makes it a sporting nation, if everybody gets a chance to play. So, and the two things will drive each other. They're not mutually exclusive. But I hope one of the things that will happen is that by the time we host the Olympics, almost every small village has some sporting facilities. And it doesn't have to be fantastic, but every kid discovers the joy of sport. And hopefully that will be the result of dreaming of the Olympics, that in the meantime, all these other goals get accomplished. And who knows, maybe we'll be a healthier nation if everyone's built in a certain amount of sport in their lifestyle. It's all the accompanying benefits as well.
Amazingly, three insights that I drew from it. One, start doing smaller, not Olympic size, but smaller events to build that up. Second, I think you talked about distributing Olympics almost like what it happens in a FIFA or an ICC tournament, which gets it spread across India. And third, I think is to bring the larger mass of the country to get involved and enjoy sports. And not everyone will make it, and that's a great hope for me personally, Vishy, that I'll continue to play chess, even though I don't think we'll get remotely close to you. But I think it's for all of us that we get a chance to be a sportsman, and I think it has a huge change in your character. As a sportsman's character is way different in terms of dealing with failure and victories. Right. So that's an amazing insight. I do have time to take one or two questions from the audience, and someone will have to get the mic to them. And please state your name and then ask the question. Please keep it very brief. We don't have too much time. So, thank you.
Vanakkam, sir.
Vanakkam.
My name is Sunil. I'm an alumni of IIM Nagpur. My question to you is, we know that there is Indore city which boasts, quite a good sporting facility, and at the grassroots level, we still see that the facility for the kids who are playing, at the grassroots level is not, on the good side. Case in point being, my daughter is, Telangana State under 14 champion, part of the winners team. So I've been through with her the entire journey, right from the district level selections to the state level. So we still see that at the grassroots level, there's not much of the support from the government bodies. So how can the corporates, how can the government bodies come together, and seeing a success story and having a better infrastructure built?
I partially agree with you. It would be great if we had these facilities available at every level. Again, I think it doesn't have to be very, very expensive. Look, as a country, we know half our team played in the road between their houses with a tennis ball and a stick, and they got half our cricket team grew up like that. Sometimes, as I say, just getting out and competing is the big thing. But you're right. I would like almost all state governments to systematically just say every district, every town must have a certain number of facilities which are easily accessible to people and all that. And, build it up from there. Small steps, but keep going on. But the main thing is just to get people used to the idea of competing. Chess, I think, brings in the mental element. You still get the elements of a sport, which is that you learn how to compete, you learn problem-solving skills, but you also learn the rules of competition. How to win, how to lose, and how to shake hands afterwards and take your lessons from it. So, if we had a broad, sports facilities in every town, that would be a very, very great thing. And again, 1 or 2 in the beginning, and then we build up from there.
Thank you, Vishy. We can take one small, yeah.
Hi, sir. I'm Rahul. I run a longevity tech company. We would all want to know the secrets of your longevity in chess, sir. Because what you have done has no parallels in the history of sports, staying on top of your game for 40 years. And also, quickly, if I can add, your take on AI in chess, right from the Deep Blue in the 90s to Stockfish and Leela today.
Well, I keep working and I keep learning. As you pointed out in the second question, AI, but its previous avatars as well, influenced the game a lot, changed the game a lot, reordered the skills that you need as a chess player. So once the computer could take over a certain number of skills, you had to learn new ones or tweak older ones in order to keep competitive. So part of it is simply adapting, being flexible, not being very rigid and saying, this is what I know how to do best, but being willing to learn new skills. And I like chess and I like competing, and I think that's what's helped me do the other thing. So, once you get to the table, then you always get your motivation very fast.
Thank you, Vishy. As we wrap up, I think, needless to say, as we said, chess is in everything that we do. And I'm hoping the corporate leaders, the students of IIM, and all of us are taking away from this as to how to think strategically and how to probably execute on it. Because he doesn't just think, but he executes on it. So thank you, Viswanathan Anand, a 5-time world champion, a Padma Vibhushan winner, and most importantly, one of the most humble sports persons that I've ever met in my life. A big round of applause for Vishy. And can't thank you enough.
As we now move towards the end of the session, we would like to thank on the behalf of IIM Nagpur fraternity, I would now like to request Mr. Jagdish Mitra to give a moment to Mr. Viswanathan Anand. It is my honor and privilege to extend heartfelt thanks on behalf of the entire IIM Nagpur fraternity to Grandmaster Viswanathan Anand and Mr. Jagdish Mitra for their inspirational conversation and for taking out time from their busy schedule and giving their wisdom. We would like to thank our sponsors, Silver Partner Ahluwalia Contracts India, Sustainable Energy Partner Indian Oil, Bronze Partner AWS. We were truly fortunate to have the opportunity to listen to you and be inspired by your insights throughout the discussions. Sir, it would be a privilege to for us to have a prize distribution by you to the chess champions winner of IIM Nagpur's Rhapsody. Praful, Shashwat and Natansh. The first winner, Praful. Second, Shashwat. And third, Natansh. Thank you, everyone. And we have our entire day planned with interesting talks and events across the campus in North Block and South Block. We will look forward to your active participation. Thank you.